Robbie, obviously this is your first fight internationally, but you're not exactly traveling too far. Do you ever regret perhaps not fighting in other parts of the world, like Europe or Asia or Brazil or any places like that?
No. I just go with the flow, and wherever they book me, that's where I show up and fight, I guess.
You haven't spent much time outside though here, it looks like. Just hearing you talk yesterday, it's just all hanging out in the room pretty much?
Yeah, hanging out in the room. It's a little cold out there, and it's 70 degrees in my room, so it's a little nicer.
Does this type of weather, I mean, I don't know if this is a stupid question or not, but does it make it more challenging to cut weight for you guys, or is it just only if you're, doing things outside?
Yeah, it doesn't make it hard for me. I've lived in the cold before, obviously not a place this cold, but just do everything indoors, bring your plastics, bring your sweats, and just go to work.
And you're a guy who, in the past, your home was starting out at welterweight. You moved up to middleweight, came back down. Obviously, Dos Anjos is moving up a division here. What are the challenges that when you go up and you're fighting elite fighters at a weight class higher than where you're typically used to competing? How do you make adjustments for that?
You just go out there and be as strong as you possibly can, and be tactical and try to beat the other guy up just like you would at the weight below. The pace might be a little slower, so I mean, there's definitely advantages to moving up.
Would you ever consider going back to middleweight?
No, not really. I feel like I'm good at this weight. I'm not too heavy. It's not a hard weight cut for me, so I feel comfortable.
In the build-up to this fight, Dana White's gone on the record and said that the winner of this fight will get the next title shot. Have you had any more communication with Dana, and kind of do you believe him when he kind of says that?
No, I haven't had any communication with him, but I'm not too worried about that because you got to win first anyways, and then you'll see what happens after that. So just focus on the task at hand, go out there, try to showcase my skills, and put my best foot forward.
Should you win, do you think the last couple of wins would put you in a position to get a rematch with Tyron?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a win always gets you closer to your goals, so we'll see what happens.
I know when you first came back to the UFC, it was a pretty frequent pace of fighting, and it's been a little bit slowed down this time. Tyron said yesterday that he's planning on getting shoulder surgery, which will keep him out, who knows how long. For you, if you win this fight, I mean, are you content with, taking some time off if you need to in order to get a title shot, or do you want to, keep the flow going here?
I'm going with the feel. I'll see how I feel, see what's going on around me. There's a lot of different variables. There's training partners getting ready for fights. There's coaches getting ready for fights. So you have to, and how I feel. So it's a lot of variables that I need to make sure are all aligned for me to take a fight.
This is, I believe, your second fight under Henry Hooft and the Combat Club since leaving ATT, correct? What have they given you, and what have you got there that perhaps you weren't getting before at ATT?
No, I mean, really good. There's really good training partners everywhere I've gone. It's all about different skill sets, making sure I'm sharpening all my skills, working top to bottom. Yeah, it's just a good atmosphere for me.
Since you fought Donald Cerrone, earlier this year, he's lost a couple more in a row. Are you surprised to see him on this little skid right now that he's facing?
I don't really pay much attention to everyone, and I'm not trying to be surprised or shocked by anything. It's just I'm living my life, and they're doing their things, and we're just watching.
Fox is obviously a massive platform, so you're in the main event, you're headlining. If things go your way, you win. Will you have something prepared or planned to say, using that platform to try and get that title shot against Tyron?
I don't have anything planned to say. I'm just gonna go out there and be me like I always am, and that's it.
Last thing, I mean, a little more fun question here, but it's the holidays, New Year's coming up, all that stuff. Do you make New Year's resolutions, whether it's career-wise, personal-wise, family-wise, anything? Do you do that sort of thing or no?
Not really. I just do those kinds of things every day, like things I want to change, how I want to improve, and just because it's a new year doesn't mean I should start something like. I'll just do that every day and every day of my life. If it happens in April, then do I have to wait until the 1st? So no, I don't do that.
And after all these years, do you still enjoy doing the media?
Oh, I love it. It's great.
What's your favorite part about the media?
answering all these questions, light shining in your eyes, you know, all the good stuff.
You told Brett Okamoto yesterday that you talk about with your friends all the things that we're kind of asking you about, right? Is that accurate? Is that was with the quote that you kind of gave him when he asked you what you talk about, you know, at home with your friends when it comes to MMA, and you basically said, I talk about what you guys asked me about?
Yeah, but I was joking because I don't talk about this shit. I'm at home relaxing, talking about other stuff in life.
Is part of that because like, I know, is this a job? And like a lot of people, like when you don't want to take your job home. Is that part of it, or you need to compartmentalize your life a little bit, or maybe you just?
No, because I've never really been much into this kind of stuff, and yeah, take a little step back. I don't need to be involved too much. Enjoy my fight, go home, relax. I train every day. I'm around fighters every day. I don't need to be in it like all the time.
Do you watch the UFC events on Saturday nights?
Yeah, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So just all depends. If I have a guy fighting a guy I know, then I'll watch.
Yeah. What do you think? How's Rockhold going to do coming up here in February against Whitaker?
Obviously, Rockhold's Whitaker's a really tough guy, so Rockhold's doing a great job training. He's got to get ready, and it's going to be a tough fight. Yeah,
what do you make of George St. Pierre? He comes back from 4 years, holds the title for the shortest title reign ever in UFC history, 33 days before he vacates it. Does that? I know you said you're not surprised, shocked by any of this stuff, but when you watch that as kind of an observer of your fellow fighters, did that take you off guard a bit to see him give up the belt so quickly?
I'm not commenting on that. I'm going to let everyone else talk about that. Because, yeah, I just feel like, no, I'm not.
I feel like you have something you want to say about this.
No, I'm good. It doesn't need to be said.
Like, I guess maybe you don't know the answer, but like, how have you kept at such a high level for so long when your past opponents, say like Johnny Hendricks, is like they're just a bit of a shell of themselves? Like, how do you? What's the secret?
I don't know. Just trying to get better. I've been fighting my whole life, so a lot of these guys maybe are learning tricks now and learning how to fight. But I've been doing this my whole life, sharpening my skills and always trying to improve. Even when I was losing, even when I wasn't doing well, I was improving, I was working, and I knew I was better than what I was showing. So I always believe in myself. Even after a loss, I believe that I'm better than that and that I can showcase more than I showed the last time.
Do you feel you've maximized your skill set at this point, or do you think there's still a lot more room to grow for you as a fighter?
Oh yeah, there's lots to learn. I don't know a lot of these skills out there. I'm learning every day. I have really good training partners. There's lots of different techniques out there. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows all the fighting techniques there are in the world.
Have you thought about at any point how long you want to do this for, really, or is it just take it fight by fight, see how you feel?
Yeah, fight by fight, see how I feel. I'm enjoying myself. My body feels good. My training partners are doing a great job with me, and I'm learning, so it's nice.
You're talking about learning new techniques and everything. I saw someone tweeted, it might not be true, but since your Strikeforce run all the way through here, you haven't made one submission. You haven't done one submission attempt. Your entire last 20 fights. Yeah. But I assume you train submissions. It's just when it comes down to fight night, you just haven't seen the opportunity, or
yeah, the opportunity to just like present itself like with a bow, like, hey, here I am, take this. Yeah, I mean, I work on all the aspects. I've been training in grappling for 17 years, and it's just not something I look for in fights, and it hasn't really presented itself, and I'm not looking to grind somebody out with a submission, I guess.
When you're training, though, do you enjoy the grappling part as far as the training
process? We're talking about kind of weird stats here. You have the highest takedown
work.
accuracy in UFC history. I think it's like 77%. So minimum 20 takedown attempts kind of qualifies you for that. I don't know how many you actually have, maybe 21 or 22, but does that surprise you as well that you've...
It's more like
still, even then, 76% of 20 is pretty good, right?
I'm not trying to score points, I guess. I'm like,
the best in UFC history. It's better than ours.
Yeah, I just look for lock a guy down and beat him up if I am grappling.
And as we're talking about kind of weird stats here, you have the highest takedown accuracy in UFC history. I think it's like 77%. And minimum 20 takedown attempts kind of qualifies you for that. I don't know how many you actually have, maybe 21 or 22. But does that surprise you as well that you've? Yeah. But still, even then, 76% of 20 is pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's the best in UFC history. It's better than all right.
Yeah, I just look for the best right opportunities to get takedowns and easy takedowns, like stuff where I'm not going to waste too much energy and blow through the guy and get an easy takedown.